Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Yosemite Valley. I am super happy that you guys are back in here today for a video while the bubbles come in for my new intro little thingy. Today we're going to do a giant panda double habitat, and I'm just jumping right in what the double habitat means. So first things first. Thank you guys so much for your comments in the last video of the big cat house. So apparently we've had a good discussion. Well, actually, you gave me some good comments about where you would put anything. And I love the idea that some of you guys came up with to put the giant panda in this corner of the sequoia area. By the way, I just learned that it's not sequoia, but it's actually sequoia. So I said it wrong for almost 2 years of this series, but whatever. I'm also pretty sure that some people did already mention that in the comments, but I'm just a stupid German, okay, with the stupid pronunciation, and I just did it wrong for 2 years, and that's fine. At least I learned. I'm still faster than the majority of Germans, okay? So don't hate me. But no, I mean, I love the idea to have it here next to the doll sheep, and it also kind of fits in because as some people were pointing out in the live streams, I just have this now, the both Asian pandas to both sides of the parking lot. So on the left parking lot there is the giant panda now, and on the right parking lot there is the small red panda. Now the cool bit about this is that we don't really have an Asian theme in this zoo anyways, and speaking about the zoo as like a story, it makes a whole bunch of sense to have these things as a later addition. Because again, as I also learned just recently from you guys in the comments, the Chinese government is only giving away the giant pandas for 1 million each, and also only to projects where they can guarantee the welfare of the animals and to contribute to the breeding or kind of conservation program of the giant panda. So this is also why, if I would try to bring this in here thematically, and as you can see I'm doing this, it has to be a rather new edition and a rather modern, bigger one. So this is what we're doing, and it's going to take 2 episodes. I mean, even though we streamed for 5 hours, which was a ridiculously great stream, it definitely needs some more work. And I'm still very happy about where we ended after these 5 hours. I mean, considering that we talked a lot in the stream, we had some funny chat jokes again and stuff like that all of the time. It makes sense that the progress wasn't that quick. I also did cut out a lot of stuff where I was just idling around for way too long. But the thing is, it just turned out to be a very great idea to make this split habitat. And here's the second reason. Now, I told you why it is so special for the pandas to be in other areas, and we have to have it thematically a bit more modern. Not the same, but similar rules apply also to the red panda. I think it's not as strict, but you still have to fulfill some rules nowadays to have them in. So it also makes sense that we have like a bit of a more modern one there. But the big news for me were, and seriously, I had no clue that it is this way. Giant pandas cannot be held in one habitat. So the thing is, they would basically kill or at least hurt each other very much, except in mating time. So I did really not know that. I heard this from the chat. The chat did educate me. So I had my own education center while Twitch streaming. See how great is that? And they just told me that it is not possible. And most zoos actually do have a separate habitat on, which is basically looks a little bit like the same, but then it's split into 2 halves, and you can open some gates in case for mating or changing the habitats, because as many zoos also do. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I learned this. I mean, I learned this last year already doing the first initial research for Planet Zoo. But I learned that many zoos do have 2 or 3 variants of a habitat for each species, so that they can basically just mix and match them around. And I'm just talking about more modern habitats. It's not been always like that, but more modern habitats do have variants where you can open and close some gates, so that you can mix and match the habitat and keep it somewhat exciting for them. So let's say you have 3 different areas in one habitat, and you can always close off one area and then just change that area, you know, put new toys in, put new things in, so that the animals, when they come back into this area and another area might be closed off, that they discover new stuff and it's a bit more exciting for them, and it feels almost like, you know, nature around them is changing, and they still have a bit more of this kind of real life nature feeling. So I think this is a very exciting thing to do, and I will definitely try to have more of my one-off builds and future habitats considering this a bit more. because I find this a very clever and a very necessary thing, to be honest. You know, once you think about it, it's almost like, why hasn't that been the whole time already? You know, that's kind of my thought behind that. But whatever. I just wanted to kind of introduce why we are doing a split habitat. You can see there is this wall already in the middle here, the stone wall. That was the first idea of the separation. And just to speak about how it will be realized in the game, it's not going to be a split habitat. So we are not going to have two habitats. It's just an implied split habitat, which is gates always kept open. So the pandas can obviously meet each other. And I'm also not too sure how it is with males and females in real life. I think you can't have a male and a female, because at least also Zoopedia says up to one for each. But I think with babies together, they can have more. And also they can have, I don't even know if they can have more females in one group or not. That's something I'm not sure. But you guys will enlighten me in the comments, I'm pretty sure. So let me know in the comments down below if this is possible or not. And also, since we were talking about this, if you made it to this point in the video, I would really ask you guys to jump into the comment section and tell me your best animal fact, you know, like a zoo fact, you know. I know we did this a few times and I always note these down. I try to remember them, but we haven't done this in a while. So please, if you have a cool fact, like just as we talked about, you know, that habitats are separated for that reason, or whatever, I don't know, some funny facts about zoos, let me know in the comments down below. I always love reading that, because there are so many things you just don't easily find by research, because you have to have people that worked in a zoo or that have had a tour and got this or whatever. You know, for me, I'm just giving you one fact now that I loved a lot. When we've been to Burgers Zoo in the Netherlands, when the lady designer actually organized a zoo meetup with a couple of people from the community, we've been to a backstage tour. It's actually quite a while ago already, but they showed us the wonderful coral reef they have there. And basically, the Burgers Zoo in the Netherlands is the only zoo outside of Australia that has actually a living coral reef that is basically taken from the Great Barrier Reef, to be honest, and have them living there. And they cannot use LED lights, because LED lights are not creating the same light and the same kind of heat than the old versions of the lamps did. The old, how do you even call it, the old bulbs and the lamp bulbs? I don't even know. In German you say Glühbirne, but I don't even know how you say that in English. But it's actually not an LED light. It's basically the old version, which is slowly but steadily dying out. But they still need to use this light, and they haven't found a solution, at least not last year or 2 years ago when we've been there, how to solve that. So it's the only part of the zoo that has is not using LED lights, but the old one. So I found that very interesting, because that's like something you never really think about, and you can also imagine what kind of energy drainage that is. It's insane. I just don't want to see their energy invoice or power invoice. I just don't. But yeah, so it's really a very good thing, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that is going to turn out here, because I basically did not think that we can pull this off. Like, honestly, this corner over here seemed way smaller than it turned out to be, and it still looks good. I don't know if you guys spotted that at the beginning, but I pushed all the sequoia trees right up into the air, so they are not gone. They are basically floating in mid-air just to give me a bit more light. This is, by the way, the gates I was talking about earlier that will separate both sides of the habitat. I just haven't found a solution for the little water bottom there. We might just put a fence in, because there is another reason why you need to do it in that way, and this is the pandas are not allowed to see each other even. This is something that was like, okay, well, they cannot live together, okay, but they cannot even see each other because they get aggressive. Weird animals, though. Just when, I mean, it's your partner. You can have a baby with her or him or whatever, and just don't kill you, you know? It almost is like, you know, I don't know, people living in a pandemic too long together at home. No, I'm just kidding, by the way. This is just like on a funny side of thing. I don't get this. I really don't get why the animals wouldn't get along. Is there anything you guys can tell me why it would be? I seriously have no clue. Anyways, by the way, just as a note, me and my wife, we get along very well. It's actually insane, to be honest. I just want to get that out as an info. I really thought it would be worse, like because of being in a lockdown for almost 4 months now. You get the feeling that sometimes you might actually go on anyone's, just annoy each other. That's how you say that. But it actually is not really happening, and I'm still very much positively surprised. I mean, we get along very well. We've been in a relationship for way more than 10 years and stuff, so apparently we like each other. But, we are still human, and you know how that is when you are together with people for too long. Sometimes you just annoy each other. It's just a matter of time when this happens. But yeah, it just really barely happens anyways. And this is just pretty crazy, to be honest. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's insane. It's really great. But it's confusing at the same time. It's great. It's just purely good. But anyways, we also need to build a staircase over here. Staircase is very important because that's legit the only way to bring down our staff members. The entrance to this habitat is on the top layer. The reason for that is I don't want the guest to be able to go here. This should be only the entrance or the connection for the staff members, and hence I needed to put the entrance to the top. I just didn't want to have a separation there because it's just, it doesn't work. Anyhow, I'm gonna leave you guys alone for a couple of minutes now because I'm running a little bit of time today and I want to get this ready for the weekend. You will see a bit of a time lapse and I will be back for a couple of seconds at the very end of the video. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and then I'll talk to you at the end of the video, so enjoy. All right, there I am again. I did not lie to you when I said I will come back at the end of the video. And here we go. So part 1, you can see the habitat is really already done quite nicely. So the next episode will be way less of a time-lapse, but it will actually be a lot more of a real-time overview, and also making sure that the viewing gallery of the guest is done, because that's something I didn't get to do this time. But I really would love to ask you guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, of course do so for more updates in the future. And also leave me a comment down below with your most interesting animal fact or zoo fact. And I would also love to see you guys around on Twitch. Link in the description as always. But now have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thank you so much for your ongoing support, and stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much. Goodbye.